Yes. I think who's going is asking the questions. I think we are in the questions right now.
Yeah, Manish, my question was simple on the question which you asked, that what is the normal duration of a hardware or a software or on any application which you buy. How do we define the timeline in terms of for how long we should keep it as a part of the strategy? Because I'm sure the technology changes every 3 year,
Mm,
but should we be kind of, when we are buying it along
mm.
with the procurement team, should we define that age as 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
There is no, what end date we can say that if the device are outdated, okay, the technology is outdated, and if your security concern is there, so it's the same time you can be changed same time, right? And the one thing is for security concern, right? The second thing is number of sessions, number of what throughput is there, okay, and the number of users increased in any organizations, then you need to be changed to migrate to a new device same time, right? So it is a matter of fact that it's depend business to business the requirement is all about. So the one thing is different. Like once we're going to procurement of any device, this different approach we need to we need to go for different reports are generated, right? Gartner reports. So you can just take a look Gartner reports. In the Gartner reports, you see that which is the topmost device for the security purpose or different measures is there. Okay, and once you know what we have to check with outdated device and we have to migrate to the new device. So it is depend on the business to business use cases. Okay, if the company the number of users are increased same time, okay, number of sessions are increased same times, and your devices the hang same time, okay, it's not able to support that number of users. So that then you have to just move to the new devices same time. Okay, so
Okay.
we can say that it's not time because the depend on the business, because the cost is involved all the time, right? If your company is MNCs and your costing is doesn't matter, then you can just take a decision same time. But if you are in the locations where the the costing is more important for the top management sort of things, so these things are different, right, in prospects, we can say that, right? So strategic plan is basically we can say that is a long-term plan, right? So the long-term what is the planning you're doing for the IT business. The second thing is for tactical planning, so a more specific medium term and planning, okay, driven by the implementing and strategic plans, and 1 to 12 months is outlook, right? So the tactical plan is basically we can say that 12 months plan. Okay, so I already gave the example yesterday that if we have the Outlook Office 365 environment, right? So we have to provide a license to the users. Okay, so different licenses are available, E3, E1, Office Premium sort of things. Suppose the user is going to use the offline access. So, uh, so we can say that we need to provide some E5 licenses, the premium services licenses, for because the different costing is there for different licenses. So you can categorize the plans of your company, right? Which is the operational plan, what is the tactical plans, what is the strategic plans, and as per this plans you can make a strategies. You can prioritize the things, which is the first one we can do it, which is second things, and which is third thing you're gonna use it. This sort of things gonna working. Okay, so the operations plans is very detailed, short-term plans and daily objectives focused on processes and procedures to accomplish tactical goals, right? So we can say operational plans are what day-to-day things you're doing it, because suppose your company is basically use the SIM solutions, okay, the security incident event management sort of tools. So suppose you are using a Splunk, is a SIM solution, right? Or we can say that the ArcSight is one of them, and Cisco Radar is another SIM solutions. So what happened? You have got number of events all the time, number of incidents is all the time, right? So what type of incidents you will take a look, what type of events you will take a look, and what type of precautionary measures you are doing it. So this operational plans, day-to-day activities you're doing, going through it. So more focused on procedures and accomplish tactical goals. Okay, and the contingency planning is alternate plans where the original plans fails. Also, if you have a backup plans is also available. If this plan is gonna fail, then you can go for second plan same time. The security program provides the oversight in the development and enforcement of the collection of the policies, documents that establish the security postures of the organizations, must assure completeness and comprehensiveness of the policies. So my another question is basically from this particular slide. This is what we can say that the cost management. So how do you deal with the cost management of IT? Have you ever created, or what sort of use of your of on this? Have you ever created anything, or the financial team will send you the cost management sort of plan, or if you are a IT manager or what, so then how do you deal with the cost management? Any ideas? Any views?
For anything, I think there should be budget defined. So in case we don't know the budget and exact requirement, what are the features required, we can define like what kind of security, what kind of like device we can procure to achieve that requirement.
Yes, but the management is some different things need to be take very care. Any ideas? Have you ever created the cost management for IT?
No,
Okay, so we have, what, different. Suppose these are the thing, strategic planning. Suppose you are going to plan for long term or 10 years goals. Okay, so first of all, you need to be planning what type of device, what type of services, what type of vendor, what type of supplies you required. Okay, suppose you are going to hire a supplier or ISP sort of things. We can say that. So what's your plan of actions? Okay, so you are choosing the plan, the ISP vendor who is going to be, what, increase the bandwidth after 2 years, 3 years, whenever you required, whenever the company required, same time. Okay, so as per this, you understand, yes, this is the one 100 mbps cost is this. So what is the cost of 500 mbps? What is the cost of one gig link is all about. So this sort of, what, planning you can already do it. Okay, so the cost management is most important part of this. And you can also check with the what type of web servers the costing is all about, the SP servers, Dell servers. Okay, but currently you're just comparing the cost between the VMware. Okay, how much cost of the VMware licenses same time. Okay, and then you compare the VMware with the, the cloud, AWS or Azure instances same time. Okay, suppose then you will go for some open source tools like OpenStack, CloudStack sort of tools, open source, what instances you can want to create. Okay, so you always, what, you need to create always be what is the cost is all about, how to be cost management. Okay, so in the Microsoft partner, okay, this is Microsoft partner professional sort of things, you can just Google it. Okay, Microsoft is providing a console or tool sort of things like Microsoft partners. Okay, channel. So where it is, whatever the cloud services you're running it in any what locations, right? So it's a centralized locations where you can see the costing, what are the services, what are the subscriptions, what is expected costing in the next 6 months or 4 months or 1 year planning. So this is the cost management, you can do it on the cloud portals, we can say that. Okay, then is another thing is the security program, develop and perform security awareness trainings to deploy the knowledge of the current policies for all employees manually, for all new hires, for third party ser- service providers, supplemental training or provide privileged and specialized users the material training for violators, provide oversight and third party regarding compliances. So my question is all of you that have you ever provided security trainings to your company still now or not? And if you providing these trainings, then what is need to be take care? Any guesses? Hello.
So Mahesh, like we have given, normally I have given training to the internal team or to the like any other specific company internal team. Sometime like I give a training to any security products and all.
Okay. Okay. But what about if you're going to provide a trainings to different employees like the finance or the HR guys or some different purchase or salespersons involvement in the security training, then they have a number of questions regarding. So what need to be take care at the same time? Only one thing. What type of what you take care? Because the technical person understand whatever your technical things you're talking about. Open a browser. Yeah. What do you mean by browser? They know that. we, you have to go for the VPN. We know they don't know the VPN. What they know, the side to side VPN is all about. They know the technical features is all about. But what about the if non-technical employees? If you're going to provide trainings, then what things need to be take care at the same time?
With a simple language, make them understand.
Oh, yes, the simple language you can use it, and also you can use it the PPTs, which is what not for technical only. The simple language is just saying that. Okay, and talk to them their advantages, their benefits always, not the security point of view. Security is your objective to achieve, right? But you just talking about their advantage. If they are using this one, then what the advantage they will get it, then they will listen it. Because I have provided a number of trainings to the different colleges, different workshops. I have done it, and the companies are always security trainings. I'm going to provide it. So I'm not going to more and more technical because I know that the guys are not so much technical. So I'm just talking about very simple things, right? If you are doing this thing, so this is the benefit for you. If you're doing this one, this is benefit for you. Simple things, and don't go for complicated the things. Okay, simple things you will just suggest them, then they will just take care of it. Okay, suppose the example is in the social engineering, right? So in the social engineering, what is the requirement? They just the person in the Facebook upload their photos, upload their the videos, and providing their mobile numbers, providing their internal the personal informations will be shared on the Facebook or LinkedIn or different accounts. Okay, so hacker is going to get all the information from the Facebook is all about. Okay, so try to restrict all those things from if you are the security providing trainings to your different guys, so that this will not be done because this is not can be used it. Okay, so we have some different frameworks or governance, so documented, formalized through organization policies, so policies and standards high level, and procedures and baselines and guidelines and recommendations. So what type of what different standards have you created? If anyone is created the database standards, network standards, what are the diagrams, what are the different what way to communications, different channels, what is the flow chart of your what information on the networking side? Have you ever created diagrams sort of things, any flows of your applications, of flow of data, how the flows of your code on the application side? Has anybody created till now? Hello.
So normally, like like I create in a manner about the HLD, LLD, the traffic flow, about the like network or the security flow.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of like normally like design documentation, I do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, good to know that. Yes. So, what other things you created? So, what you doing to do it same time is?
So any diagram, any like design documentation major is like suppose if I talk about the, do you want me to like cover all the points in the design document or normal like diagram you're talking about?
Normal things, whatever, because we have basic understanding of each and everything. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like ultimately any documentation should be covered like end-to-end communication, how it would be. The overall requirement is a common thing, scope, auto scope, assumptions, risks, like normal implementation plan kind of, or like if I talk about the like normal diagram, like it should be like what are the like IP address schema addresses needs to be deployed on which device, like what are the devices are in the overall environment, like we have the router, we have the switches, we have the like firewall, what is the application, what is the like IP address of the application, what are the old rules we would be applying on which device, what is the routing protocol we would be using. So all kind of like information we would be sharing in the documents, and it can be presented to the concerned team for the approval, and we further like deploy the design.
Yeah, that's right. So we are the which tool we are using? We are using MS Visio.
Yeah,
We,
Visio, we are using Visio.
yes, and we are using Lucidchart is is open source tools available. So you can Google it. Open the Lucidchart is also used like a MS Visio sort of diagrams. Okay. Um, so another thing is, what is the difference between flowchart? The flow chart is basically is telling about the how to flow of your information is going to be source to destination end. Okay, and then if we are creating some MS Visio diagrams, so that they will what provide the other side of the of a network, or you can say different databases or whatever you're creating. Okay, so there's a blueprint sort of things, so any person can understand, of a technical person can understand how the data is going to flow. Okay, once you're going for the troubleshooting of the networking or your databases or your cloud, right? So he can easily understand the way how these things are going, how it's going to, things are moving, and where we need to be changed. Okay, so it is what is good for what if the new onboarding, if you're going to provide training to the new person, then the flow chart and also the standards which you're creating on MS Visio is really helpful at the same time, right? So we're just talking about some procedures and the baselines and the guidelines and the recommendations. So in the standards, we always providing the technical aspect, right? What is the flow of, or what is what the OSPF sort of things, or different routing protocols, or technicals, the synchronization between the two database servers. So these things we need to be provided into the standards. But in the policies, we don't have to go for each and everything in a very descriptive way. We just providing do's and don'ts sort of things on policies, which is gonna providing it. And the guidelines is basically and the recommendations. If you follow the recommendations, then it's okay. If you're not going to follow it, then it's okay, no problem what's it. But it's a what providing informations to different employees what needs to be done. Okay, so the frameworks and the governance is based on the recognized frameworks, recommendations, and industry vendors and best practice. So ISO IC is, we can say this, ISO 27001, right? And NIST is basically for US federal sort of things, and COBIT is in what it's like what architecture sort of things, and the SAPSA Jackman is old one, and the vendors, the COSO. So they using a different manner, but what we need to accept one framework, at least one framework at a one site. We cannot use all of them in one specifically companies. So the framework is for governance must be applicable for regulations. So these are the regulations of HIPAA compliance, GLP, SOX, PCI DSS, and other things. So we will just talking later on this. So healthcare businesses have different, what regulations, and what debit card, credit cards, or afford cards have different PCI DSS sort of regulations. We are going to do it. So different regulations act we are using it, or different companies acceptance is all about. The policy documents or statement of practice, user behavior, who, what, and why. It's high level, often one and two sentences is all about. System specific, okay, and also issue specific. Okay, so there's the onboarding of employees, termination of the employees, or financial policies, HR policies, purchase policies. So everything you just need to be create the statements, what to practice, statements of practice, what the practice need to be done. Okay, who's going to use it, what going to use it, and why you're going to use it. So these are the answers will be found in the policies. So policies are procedures, standards, and baselines are compulsory. Guidelines are not compulsory, right? So the policies, we can say the policies we have in do's and don'ts or practices, procedures. What is the flow? Okay, how it is step one, then step two, then step three, step four, sort of things. In the procedure sort of standards, you provide some diagram sort of things. Okay, so that we need to follow sort of things, and it's gonna working. And the guidelines are basically the advisory sort of things. So this is not compulsory for any person, right? The policy documents the purpose of the what the policies, the scope of the policies, background, responsibility, who's going to do, where to apply, when to apply, where to apply these things, and the policy statements, the actions, the related documents, exceptions, division history, and approvals. Okay, so and the version numbers, the division history, we have already discussed about all things in my previous lectures. And the policy documents must be reviewed and updated regularly, annually, or after major changes. Must follow formal change control procedures. Training must be provided to employees and after changes, right? So I have one questions for you regarding the IT policies or the HR policies, the financial policies. Uh, um, uh, what is the difference between what the policies and the standards? Any ideas about it? And any tools name you can update it all the policies. Hello, anyone going to be answered on the same? IT policies versus standards, which is the best one and why? Hello, are you there, guys? Hello. Yes. Hello. Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, we are here. Like, Mahesh, if you can explain more, it would be good. Thank you.
Yes. So I have one question is basically so IT policies versus IT standards, which is best and why? And any answers for the same, or I will just explain it.
Yeah, please explain, Mahesh.
Okay. So IT policies are basically the practices. So it is depend on the business to business. Okay. So the IT policies are the best practices where need to apply. Okay. And the standards, the diagram, the features, the databases, synchronization or synchronizations. So suppose any person will be coming to your company. First of all, he will review the policies of the IT policies, the HR policies, the finance policies, the different policies he's going to use it. But once he's onboarded and he will what working, and then uh, you join in your departments, and then you're just providing the standards, what type of standard, what different standards you're going to use at same time. So IT policies are basically with the short, what we can say that documents 1 to 2 pages only. Okay, where the IT policies mentioned, the HR policies mentioned, what to follow, what not to follow, what is the best practices, where to apply, when to apply, whom going to escalate, those sort of things. Simple thing is there. But in the standards, we just find out each and everything about the processes, the databases, processes, synchronization processes, cloud security perspective. So all the technical features of all the technical of the document you will find out in the standards. Okay.
Mahesh,
Yes, tell me.
sorry. Yeah, I have a question actually. Is you are talking about the policies versus standards or policies versus procedures?
Standards. Procedures is a steps.
Stand,
Procedure is a steps. Okay.
right,
How to do it, what type of correct
correct.
steps. Okay, so
Then I'm not clear about the standards actually. The difference what you said, I'm not clear actually.
the policies, the standards, or and the processes basically is we can say it's same sort of things, but there's a difference between two things. Then the process, the step one, step two, step three, step four. Okay, sort of things. And the standards, we can say that it's the same sort of things, but in the standards we have more technical things is available, right? Like diagrams. Okay, if you're just going for the MS Visio diagrams and what is the procedures, what is the protocols you're using it, what are the what different access list you have to configure it. Okay, and what type of what IP address of the access list is gonna create it. So different, all the aspect, all the informations, all the IP address, subnet, gateway, everything you will find out in the standards. Okay, but the process how to create a VLANs, how to create a access list, the simple process is showing for the users how to create an L2 security, how to create L3 security. So the steps is only showing it there, but you don't have to go for all the informations. But it is using simultaneously. It depend on the use cases, which things you're gonna use it, and different aspect. Suppose the business is over the call center, right? In the call centers, we are using the procedures. Okay, the step one, you have to follow it. It is going to work. The second process, the third step, the fourth step, the fifth step, these sort of things we are using it, because different sessions, different web pages are open simultaneously. So we have to the call center person needs to be follow every step at the same time. That is why the training is more important in the call center, what to understand the process is all about.
Mash, correct me if I'm wrong. So I'll tell you an instance. Like there is a policy for suppose there is a policy for endpoint protection, AV, antivirus policy. Okay. So in those policy, the antivirus and everything, the high level, all those statements would be written in the policy. So there will be an procedure which would be aligned with that specific policy, and the procedure would say, for example, if I'm using McAfee, it through McAfee how I'm doing the antivirus, how I'm protecting the endpoints. So those things will be written in the procedure. I mean, like the step by step, like with all figures and everything. So in this too, where does this standards comes? I'm confused. Like the standards, where does it come here?
Standards is not required here, because basically if you creating this what process is all about, so there is no standard required. Basically the standard is required for what some diagram you need to create, and you need to be what providing that this sort of things here, this is happen, the flow is going then the flow is going on later on. It's like a flow chart sort of things, how the information is going to be flow the channel's requirement. Okay, suppose you're writing steps. Okay, you're writing a steps, then there is no required of standards here. The process is working right now. And if you are just going to write down some standards, then you need to be use this is a diagram, this sort of things, this IP address details, everything you need to be created here. The flow of your information is how to going on.
Okay.
Okay, so the policy documents collectively and comprehensively describes the vision, ethics, and governance, applicable legal and regulatory compliance, the security programs, the risk management program, and data classifications and protections. So this is what coming in next few slides applicable. What so this depend to business what type of program protection and security program you need to be followed. So this is applicable on different business to business. And also the incident response program, disaster recovery and business continuity planning, control, change control, and configuration version. So change version and change control. Any differences that? Change version, where we are going to use a change version? Somebody will say that change control, and somebody will say change version. So what is the difference between two things? Change management and configuration management, configuration, what type of configurations we are going to use it. But the change control and change version, where to apply, and difference two things. Anybody will answer me on the same?
I think change control is on the system. Change version is more of a policy version change.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, because if you have worked on the DevOps environment, development operations, so the version of the it's in software. Okay, the software application program API is going to work it, and you have write down the Android version one version, right? And then you have to modify it. Then version 1.1 is there. So change version is, we can say, in more into the application side. Okay, and change control will be applied on anywhere. You can say that in the hardware sort of things, or we can say some tactical control sort of things, or we can say some administrative controls we required, the operation controls we required changes. So this is can be applied everywhere. So it's a big term, change control, and the change version is applicable for some software, some policies, change versions. We have changed the version at the same time. This thing's gonna use it. And the roles and responsibilities, that if you are the SOC security operations center, so they have different roles and responsibilities. So like if you are working on the SIM solutions and a cyber crime happened, then what you're going to do it, and what's your what actions, what is the incident response plan. So these things need to be take care, and this will be shared by the company in the job descriptions once you're going for the job. Okay, so the policy documents collectively and comprehensively is financial accounting procedures, monitoring and auditing, employee hiring and working termination practices, employee privacy requirements and exceptions, and security awareness training and enforcement. So Adi, because if you are a security guy, so first of all, if any onboarding person is coming to you, and then what is the precautionary things you need to be take care at the same time? Anything? And if the user is terminated, then what needs to be done?
There will be a certain IT clearance process which would be followed in every company, I believe. Like the clearance process, which includes like collecting the assets from the user, like disabling the user names or email IDs from all the consoles, all those things.
Yes, identity and access management is the right word, we can say, use it. Okay,
Right.
what type of access he has, what type of identity he's using it, because what things is authorized, accounting. Okay, so these sort of things need to be taken at the same time of the onboarding and offboarding sort of things. If the user is onboarding, then what type of access he required in initial stage, and then once he going to the second or third stage of onboarding, then what type of different accesses need to be provided. So acceptable use, prohibited activities, third-party governance, sanctions, exceptions. Okay, so these are the some types of comprehensive collectively things. So we have one is framework is control frameworks is basically ISO IEC 27000. So these are the what year it was to launch, 77. 995 2000. So there is nothing like that in the examination will be coming, but they will ask you one question, that how many number of controls into the ISO 27000. So any guesses? If you have ever done it, the ISO 27000 ISMS in the company, then how many number of controls?
133.
Okay. So how can we apply all sort of things? Where to apply, how to implement, how can we say that companies need to be done the ISO? Any guesses?
That depends based on the risk of the business.
So do we need to apply all 133 controls to the organization?
No.
Or what?
Those are like the baselines. You probably define that what is really relevant for after doing a risk assessment. You identify what are the key risk indicators, and then accordingly define program to mitigate those risks.
Yes. So the ISO 27000 is basically, we have a checklist here. Okay. In the checklist, we have 133 controls is there. Okay. So as per the risk assessment, we have to rectify that which controls need to be applied, which controls we not need to apply. There is no necessary of sort of things. Okay, so auditor, going to a company, and CISA is all about security, certified information and system auditors basically. So lead implementer and lead auditor is two types of sort of things in the CISA. Okay, so the lead implementer is how to implement the secure information security ISMS into the organizations, right? So what are the requirement is all about, where to apply, when to apply, how to apply, and this sort of things you need to answer. And lead auditor is basically is auditing the things. Okay, suppose you are the IT security professionals and you need to be, you know what, take auditing of the financial things. So what sort of things, or suppose you are going to the HRMS, Human Resource Management System, right? So what sort of informations, what type of auditing you going to do it? A security prospect, what are the important prospects for HR prospect or financial prospect?
I think it contains a lot of PII information, so you need to probably accordingly see that how do you protect your PII and what's your organization's liability to manage PII.
Yes, but sometimes, dear, suppose the third-party vendors, or we can say that if you're talking about some the quality management sort of things, right? So the ISO 27000 is for only information security management system is all about. But if the quality is very bad, then you need to apply some different controls. Okay, so ISO 9001 is basically used for the quality management sort of things, right? So you can provide the guidance suggestions to them. Yes, if it is lacking in the quality, or if it's lacking on some other different sort of things, so that you can say that yeah, you can apply, go for some ISO 9000 as well at the same time. Okay, so NCs, non-compliance is there. Suppose any issues will be found into the 133 controls, and this is not, you know what, you just find out. This is the things we find out in on auditing. So what is the next things you need to provide? Any NCs is available. Non-compliance, you find it, yeah, this is a compliance, non-compliance, and then they need to, you know what, figure out all sort of things. Then have you ever find it any discrepancies into the ISO 27000? Are you done or not done? Are you part of the auditing? Any answers?
I haven't worked on this part.
Pardon? So
I have
for
never worked on like ISO 27.
okay, the file exhauster. Okay, you just find out these things. See, this is not, you know what, sometimes you not find it in the you know what,